Something that I really love about Naked Famous is just the fact that they're always creating different types of jeans and they're bringing something unique every year. They have a lot of kind of series, like whether it's their MIJ, which stands for Made in Japan, or the Elephants like I have. Every year they still switch it up a little bit, which kind of makes every piece feel unique. These are the double dips. And if you remember from my story, I was in New York, stopped by the store. I was really thinking about, okay, how am I going to get the best pair, right? What's going to be my perfect pair? They have the Empire State Selvedge. I'm like, I don't know if that'll be in stock or not. I was going between that, maybe some of the core collections. Somebody mentioned they have the left-hand twill. I know Garrett on Naked Famous wears those a lot. I was, maybe I'll do that. Obviously, when I walked in, and Brandon Spark, the founder of Naked Famous, standing right in front of me, I said, hey, it's my first pair. Which pair do you think I should get? He looked at a worker, said, let's get a 34 in the double dips, which, as I mentioned before, is crazy because I didn't tell him my size. He just looked at me and was like, yep, you're a 34. I'm like, you're exactly right, sir. They fit great, so it was just a done deal. I wore them out of the store. Yeah, I actually went on a couple trips and stuff with them, so I really have brought them to a lot of places in the short amount of time that I've had them. Traveled to Chicago, South Carolina, and California. I don't plan on having any washes anytime soon. Not that I necessarily need the super high contrast fades, but I'm just trying to take in the whole experience for what it is now. I got my pair of heavyweight denim, the ones I'm wearing now, at the same time that my brother got his pair, and he's been wearing them for the past month as well. Something that he told me about when he got them, there was, things about raw denim and Selvedge denim that he wasn't familiar with and didn't really understand. Obviously, he hasn't been watching as much content on that as I have, but I was able to kind of point some things out to him, and they're just interesting topics I'd like to talk about. Why do we have button flies regularly? They have zippers, right? So why button flies? Well, first and foremost, Japanese denim is inspired by Americana, and it's inspired by American Levi's from the 1950s, and that was just the style. Also, more importantly, if you look at a pair of Selvedge denim, untreated denim, unsanforized denim, it will kind of shrink and stretch and expand to your body and washes as the jeans kind of go out through their life. And if you think about it, a pair of jeans that have a button fly are a lot more resilient to that type of stretch and shrinkage and wear and tear. And the cotton around it is a lot easier to kind of bend and mold to. If you think about modern day jeans, because that fabric is treated and sanforized, that is not as big of a deal because the zippers, for the most part, is not really shifting around, and the tape that's attached to the jeans is not really changing as much. Still, it's easier manufacturing defects. I mean, you think about the amount of times you've zipped something and something's got cotton in it or it's broken, especially on very cheap jeans. The reason that the jeans are so cheap is not only because the fabric is so poor, it's more so because, the rivets and the zippers and all the hardware pieces of the jeans are just really poorly made. And most of the time that is going to be what fails on the jeans first, especially on those pairs. That's not to say that zippers in general don't work. Naked Famous does have some pairs where they have to have zippers. On their 40 ounce, they had to incorporate a zipper because it was just too heavy to button up. And you'll notice that especially on those heavyweight jeans. The first button up is hard. But overall, it's more resilient and it's traditional. And a lot of the makeup of jeans themselves is actually historical. So I was watching this video by Edgy Albert, and he traveled to Montana to go get a custom-made pair of jeans by these two really talented jeans makers. And in the video, one of them was pointing out how this yoke on the back of jeans was originally in because the fabric on the jeans was unsanforized. So after a wash, it would shrink and it would change the makeup of the jean. Now, back in the day, and Levi's marketed this as shrink to fit. But as technology progressed and jeans were able to go through sanforization and different aspects like that, this yoke really wouldn't change, because the idea before is it would shrink in, kind of contour to your body and help the jeans fit better. But now, because the fabric of the jeans doesn't really change that much, this is really just a remnant of the past, and it really doesn't need to be on your jeans. Finally, I've been referring to this as a coin pocket, but it's actually a watch pocket, and that was the original purpose for it in the 1800s for Levi's. So miners and different laborers would keep a pocket watch in here and use it to tell the time. I've been using it personally to store my AirPods in. So now's the exciting part of the video. This is my 2-month update on the double dip Selvedge denim by Naked Famous at 14 ounces. Double dip meaning it's dipped in indigo twice as much. As I understand, the regular pair run through about 8 times through the synthetic indigo, whereas these were ran through about 16 times. Synthetic indigo, natural indigo, you might be wondering what's the difference between the two. Well, natural indigo comes from the indigo fera plant. This has been used by many cultures for thousands of years. The dye was very sought after, but in the 1800s they made synthetic indigo, and natural indigo is about 85 to 90% chemically pure indigo, whereas synthetic indigo is obviously lab-grown, 100% pure indigo. Natural indigo will kind of give you more of a lighter blue and greenish hue undertones to the denim itself, and it will fade a little differently than synthetic. Nowadays, a huge percentage, like most of the jeans you'll see, were made with synthetic indigo, but there are companies out there that use natural indigo, including Naked Famous, that has a pair in their core collection. Now is the time to do the review of the jeans themselves. I wore these for 2 months straight, just before I got my dirty elephants, which I've been wearing every day, and we can get into that now. The first thing that's going to pop out here for you guys is my phone fade in the back pocket here. I was sitting on a concrete bench and it really got the fades going. You can see the camera of my phone as well as the different positions it was in from the side of the phone here. Looking at the leather patch in the back, it's this fudge brown leather, which is still in great condition. No cracking or stretching of the leather. It looks really good. I wore my belt underneath the patch, but still looks perfect for now. As you wash the denim, you may or may not see some cracking and changing the size of the leather. Want to keep that to a minimum. And on regular leather, like veg tan leather, you can kind of help that by rubbing B-Seal, as the guys at Naked Famous do, on the patch to protect it from the wash. Moving on to the back, you can see the fade on the back of this belt loop. Now on my other pair too, it was kind of similar. This is obviously the biggest wear on the belt loops if we check out the rest of them, and this is just because it's at the very back of my pants, and the belt I wear goes underneath it, which sticks it out, causing more friction on the back there. Opening it up, you can see the beginning of some fades occurring along the line of the jeans, and that is just from being cinched with the belt. Especially on the inside, they're a little bit more noticeable. And yeah, after 2 months of sweating in these, you can definitely see the difference between it, even on both sides. I was wearing a smaller belt with this pair than the one I wear now. Now I'm using the Veg Tan Thick belt by Naked Famous, but before, just a custom leather belt I got in Indiana. Nashville, Indiana, actually. And just looking on the inside of this, not too much the beginning of some fades occurring. On the belt loop, you can see the beginning of some fades, but overall pretty much the same color. On the fly itself, usually you'll see fades around this part, but they're not coming in too extreme. You can see the whiskering going out in other directions. Like I said before, that's a good indicator that the pants fit you. If they're going straight lines, it means they're a little tight and it's kind of bunched up. But you can see the whiskers definitely settling in. You can also see a faint fade. My wallet, which I chose to wear on the front part of these jeans, and my phone I wear in this pocket by taking it out so much that the fade hasn't really set in. But yeah, the whiskers for sure occurring. And then in the crotch, definitely see some fades, because this is a high point of tension. Beginning of some whiskering occurring too, stretching out from the crotch and up towards the fly of the jean. You can see a bit of wear on my right knee here, and on my left knee, a little bit less wear. It's very common to see more wear on one knee than the other because of the actions you go throughout your day, whether you're kneeling or bending your knee while you're driving. It's more common to see one area more. Someone mentioned leg twist on the last video. I don't think there's any major leg twist going on either pair of my jeans, as they are sanforized. We're not going to see too much, but it's something interesting to take a look at. Here's that Selvedge line. I just recently cuffed these, so you won't see a lot of fading on this Selvedge. I pretty much cuffed them like within the last week of wear that I was wearing these, but you can see the beginning of some roping on the jeans themselves, which is really exciting to see. Ooh, definitely on the back here. And moving on to the other side. Similar line and then beginning of roping occurring. Not any major fades in the honeycombs yet, but take a look a little further back. You can see them settling in. On my heavyweight pair, the honeycombs and even whiskering feel a lot more creased than they do on these, but I was wearing these for double the amount of time, and they definitely have settled in. Taken it to a lot of places so far, and excited to take it to a lot more. But the goal for this foreseeable future is to get these heavyweights feeling buttery soft. We all want, at the end of the day, that perfect fitting, looking, cool pair of jeans that we can call our own. But we also want the story behind it, and we want to look back and say, at one point, these were all one color of, dark indigo, and now look at them.